When we picture the fall of Rome, we imagine smoke-filled horizons and nomadic hordes shattering the pillars of civilization. In northern Italy, the Lombard kings moved into Roman territory with a cold-blooded strategic objective. They spent decades inhabiting the structural skeleton of the empire, co-opting its systems to ensure their own institutional survival. These new Germanic masters realized that raw military violence is a wasting asset. To survive long-term, they required the quiet control of a functioning bureaucracy, the administrative plumbing of power. Every warlord faces a recurring crisis. How do you stop fighting for your territory in every generation and transition into a recognized, legitimate sovereign? Long-term conquest requires preserving the enemy's infrastructure. The Lombards executed a three-step master plan to turn a military occupation into a permanent architecture of control. Step 1. Keep the plumbing running. The Lombards avoided the economic blindness common to tribal invaders by inheriting the Roman turnkey state and keeping its machinery operational. This historical registry document shows the information they captured. By preserving the Roman fiscus and annona, the treasury and grain supply, the Lombards maintained an efficient revenue stream. To command this, the crown transitioned Roman military leaders into Lombard gastalds, giving the king direct control over land registries and tax codes. By mastering the complex systems governing resource extraction, the Lombards gained an invisible grip on power that military occupation alone could never secure. Step 2. Weaponize the law. With the administration under control, the Lombards sought a way to own the land permanently without relying on the shifting loyalties of tribal warfare. They used the Iron Crown of Lombardy as a semiotic bridge. By incorporating a true cross nail, they synthesized Germanic warrior loyalty with the sacral prestige of the Roman mantle. But true durability required a legal mechanism. They identified an ancient Roman loophole called usu capio, which validated the acquisition of ownership through long-term possession. This allowed them to perform a kind of legal alchemy. They used written statutes to convert temporary warrior wear grants into permanent, hereditary wealth called allodium. Using a conquered people's own civil laws to legally dispossess them murdered the uncertainty of tribal custom and secured an eternal, hereditary right to the land. Step 3. Merge the bloodlines. Physical and legal control needed to be reinforced by a deep social infiltration of the remaining Roman hierarchy. This classical painting of a seated bishop represents the first target, the church. Lombard scions were placed into high-ranking offices within the papal curia, becoming the invisible backbone of the state's spiritual administration. Simultaneously, Lombard royalty orchestrated a web of marriage alliances with declining but prestigious Roman senatorial families, performing a predatory absorption of their ancient social capital. This birthed the double legitimacy tactic. These hybrid families commanded Germanic tribes as the nobility of the sword and the Roman citizenry as the nobility of the robe. This dual identity made the elite indispensable to both populations, ensuring their status remained secure regardless of who held the nominal title of sovereign. The ultimate test of this system arrived centuries later with the Frankish expansion. Charlemagne's army swept into Italy and militarily conquered the Lombard kingdom. Despite the military defeat, these hybrid families were not destroyed or purged by the invading Franks. They were the sole possessors of the knowledge required to manage the tax registries and legal courts. For the new Frankish masters, they were too Roman to purge and too Germanic to ignore. Sustainable power is achieved when a lineage embeds itself so deeply into the administrative fabric of a state that removing them would necessitate the total collapse of the state itself. These hybrid families eventually birthed the House of Wealth, a dynasty that refined the art of administrative survival. You can see their legacy in this bronze statue of a nobleman holding the very institutions he controlled. The Welfs weaponized their inherited Lombard legal traditions to operate as the preeminent force in Central Europe. They mastered the role of the arbiter, the kingmaker. They meticulously managed the equilibrium between the Holy Roman Emperors and the popes, ensuring that neither institution could function without Welf support. History suggests that the most durable sovereignty is often the least visible. Real control resides in the administrative fabric, the registries, financial frameworks, and laws that outlast any single monarch. The fall of Rome was actually a transition to a more permanent, legalistic form of governance. The world remains governed by these evolved shadows, a system where true power belongs to those who control the floor upon which the throne stands.